Welcome to the Andy Mazo Show.
Hello? Damn it, Bobby. My name is, Hank. Welcome to the, I believe it's the Andy Mazo Show. Peggy, said you can find him on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and a lot of other podcasts where they, I believe they call it streaming. They stream the Andy Mazo podcast. So without further ado, before I introduce Andy Mazo, I sell propane and propane accessories. So if you're looking for propane or propane accessories, look up Hank. But let's just go ahead and let me introduce Andy Mazo. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, the Fat Cat on the mic. Welcome to the Andy Mazo Show. Thanks, Hank, for the introduction. That was great. That was some good stuff over there by Hank Hill. Thanks, buddy. We're going to have Hank on in another episode. But listen, we're going to go ahead, and today's show is going to be all about the polarizing story that's developing out of Chicago. The 2024 draft is coming around. The Bears find themselves in a unique position, and I'm fairly sure, I got to do some research on this, but I'm not sure if there's any team in NFL history that's had back-to-back first-round picks. And that's this year's 24 first-round pick. It was nothing short of genius by general manager Ryan Poles for the Chicago Bears. Doing what he did with Carolina, kind of fleeced them. DJ Moore. The Bears got DJ Moore out of this deal. Now we end up with the first-round pick because they had the worst record in the league. We ended up with the 10th overall draft pick last year, trading down. And, you know, it kind of worked out. We got a good offensive tackle, Darnell Wright. I give him an A- last year, 60.6 PFF grade, 6 sacks allowed. I thought he was good. I thought he showed great durability. And, you know, he's a solid guy. I think this year he's going to be really solid. I think he's going to be a top 15, top 20 lineman in the NFL. And that's really all you can ask for, right? In his second year. I thought first year he did well. He did well. So the Bears find themselves in a very unique position with current quarterback Justin Fields, right? So let's just go ahead and get into Justin Fields a little bit, okay? And what makes this so special is last year the Bears decided they were going to go ahead and trade down to the 10th pick because they felt like Justin Fields maybe had turned the corner. You know, you kind of felt like he was the guy that wasn't doing very well, but the Bears hadn't set him up very good. Obviously, year 2 was a rebuild. First year was a disaster. And just, you know, he Justin Fields is one of those guys. He's got great splash plays. You know, I also believe that Americans, NFL fans in general, have a love affair with running quarterbacks, right? You look at Michael Vick and all the running quarterbacks, you know, Warren Moon and you know, well, I don't know if Warren Moon was a great running quarterback, but he you know, he had that profile and just, you know, it makes really, really good highlight reels, right? And that's kind of where Justin Fields was. He had some unbelievable miracle plays in the last 2 years where, you know, he escaped out of some stuff and you just realize that, man, this guy has all the potential in the world. He really, really does. But then you go back and you look at his statistics and you're just like, you know, did he turn the corner last year? No, he didn't. He didn't turn the corner at all. His 23 stats were 2,562 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 61.4% completion percentage, 657 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 10 fumbles. That's the dagger, right? That's, The 10 fumbles is like one of those deals where, you know somebody, you're like, oh, yeah, Justin Fields is great, except for that time, that season he fumbled 10 times, or except for, he's a really good player, he's a good teammate, except for he can't win in the fourth quarter. How many games did the Bears blow in the second half of last season? It was unbelievable, right? You were not comfortable if Justin Fields had the ball in the fourth quarter. You weren't. You at no point last year did you say, holy cow, Justin Fields has the ball, 3 minutes left, we're going to win this game. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And really, when the season opened, the first 3 games were horrible. Only throwing 3 touchdowns with 4 interceptions and 3 straight losses. It was embarrassing if you're a Chicago Bears fan. You know what? Then he got injured, but then he kind of turned the corner. The last half of the season, Justin Fields kind of balled out. It just gave you another glimpse of what he can do. I mean, he's so magical. He's got great arm strength. There's no doubt about it. The upside of Justin Fields is tremendous. And did the Bears put him in the best position possible? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They did not. But irregardless, the Bears find themselves in a unique position where they have the first overall pick. And this year is different than last year. This year is different than last year because this year, Justin Fields had his chance. Everybody said, all the Bears fans, all you Justin Fields lovers out there, last year said, awesome. He's got another year. He's going to turn the corner. He's going to rock and roll. Let's go. Guess what? He puked. Justin Fields puked. The whole team puked. Luke Getsky, the offensive coordinator. Here's the thing, right? So you had 3 problems with the Chicago Bears. You had the coaching was a problem, the offensive line was a problem, and the quarterback was the problem. Okay? Now, as far as the offensive line is concerned, they did, like I said, Darnell Wright, I thought was a good pickup. So they did improve, right? The offensive line wasn't horrible. We're going to get into that here in just a couple of seconds. Offensive coordinator Luke Getsky just didn't work out. I'm not convinced that Luke Getsky was a horrible offensive coordinator looking back at it. I thought he ran a whole lot of screen passes. Everybody thought that. If you watch Chicago Bears, he loved the screen pass, but was that because Justin Fields couldn't find an open receiver? He didn't know how to address an open wide receiver in the first 3 seconds or the first 3 steps of the drop back. Could he not read his routes? It kind of seems like it. But the Bears addressed that issue. They went ahead and fired Luke Getsky and all the offensive coordinators, all the positional coaches. Everybody's wiped out. Right? So the Bears have addressed that issue. Now the third issue is the quarterback. And are they going to address it? And I'm here to tell you, the Bears are going to address the quarterback problem with the 2024 draft. Justin Fields is going to be traded. He is going to be traded. And it's not that I don't like Justin Fields. I just don't trust Justin Fields. I really don't. I don't think Justin Fields is a guy that I can trust in the fourth quarter, down by 3 with 3 minutes left with the ball, that can even get us into field goal range, let alone score a touchdown. I just don't feel like it. Now you got to look at the offensive line. We're going to go ahead and address that now. I said there was three situations that need to be addressed. Okay. You've got the offensive line would be the third one. Now, you look at a guy like, Trevon Jenkins. Great year. Very good. PFF rating 72.9, 10th among 65 qualifying offensive guards. I give him an A. I thought he was awesome. His long block success rate was 89.53%. That was ranked first on the team. Okay. Now you go down to Braxton Jones, left tackle. I give him a C+, PFF grade of 68.7, 33 among 70 qualifying offensive tackles, but not horrible. I would say he's slightly above average. Okay. I would say he's slightly above average. Obviously, we've already talked about, Darnell Wright. Had a solid rookie season. Nate Davis, right guard. I would say he's got a 52.9 PFF rating. Slightly above average. A little bit of a disappointing season last year. Had a blocking success rate of 84.95%, ranked third on the team. Obviously, our center was terrible. Was absolutely terrible. I'd give him an F. Not even going to bring up his name because he's gone. But you've got guys that are still out there on the team. Jair Carter, not horrible, C+ rating. And then obviously Cody Whitehair, we all know that, terrible. I just brought up his name anyway, but whatever. So now you find yourself in the draft at 9, maybe Otts there from Notre Dame. I don't know. You've got $90 million in cap space. The Bears are going to do what they got to do to address the offensive line, whether it be the draft or free agency. Right? So that was the third issue, is the line, and that's a slow process to correct. I think everybody knows that. So Justin Fields, he's gone. The Bears are going to draft Caleb Williams. There is no doubt in my mind. The Bears are drafting Caleb Williams.
The Bears was an 8-9 team last year, I believe, and 7-10. Sorry, and that's pretty good for a team that has the first pick. And they got a good defense. They got good players on offense. It's pretty exciting, if you could go into a situation like that.
Here's the thing about Caleb Williams, right? So let's just go ahead and jump into the draft class or the quarterback class. When it comes to quarterbacks, obviously you have Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels are the clear top 3 runners. Now, I've listened to a lot of press conferences. I've listened to a lot of media coverage throughout the combine, before the combine, after, everybody's done kind of pretty much now. I think wide receivers are going tomorrow. But outside of that, everybody's kind of, you listen to Caleb Williams talk, right? He talks about how he works in the offseason, his fundamentals. He looks up. His favorite quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. He, in fact, had biometrics done on his throwing process and compared it to Aaron Rodgers and see how he could improve his accuracy, his footwork, his mechanics to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, what's not to love about that? You've got a guy in Caleb Williams who just wants to win football games. You're talking about a kid that's loyal, followed his coach to USC. Had a great season 2 years ago, Heisman winner. Following year, defense was dismal. I think they gave up like 40 points a game. Didn't have the greatest wide receivers, had a terrible offensive line, and still managed to just ball out of control. I mean, if you look at his stats, right? 2021, 1,900 yards, 9.1% average, or 9.1 yard average, 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 2022 Heisman year, right? 66.6% completion passage, 4,537 yards, 9.1 average, 42 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. 5 interceptions to 42 touchdowns. 2023, again, bad offensive line, decent receivers, terrible defense. Tried to do a lot. Tried to carry that team probably harder than he should have, but that's what you want. You want diversity. That's another thing. That 2023 season for Caleb Williams, everybody's talking about he cried or what happened to in that Notre Dame game. Listen, that wasn't the same team he had in 2022. And he still had a 68% completion percentage, 3,633 yards, 30 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So the last 3 years, he's thrown 14 interceptions. In the last 2 years, he's thrown 10. Justin Fields threw 10 last year. 10 interceptions last year for Justin Fields. Now, what are the Bears going to do if they draft Caleb Williams? And first of all, let me just go ahead and clarify this when it comes to the NFL draft and the quarterbacks that are out there, right? So obviously you have Caleb Williams, who is by far the clear number one quarterback in the NFL draft. Then you've got Drake May, right? Who a lot of people have Drake May climbing down the board, right? And then you got Jaden Daniels, who seems to be coming up the board. But you ask anybody in the NFL, they will all tell you, by far and none, Caleb Williams is in a league of his own. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, whoever else you want to throw in there, there seems like, Michael Penix is climbing up the board. You've got JJ McCarthy who's climbing up the board. This happens every year, right? All these quarterbacks start sliding up. What you thought was a 20th pick overall with JJ McCarthy might go in the top 15. And again, JJ McCarthy is a good quarterback. He just didn't show a lot on tape for me that I could even really look at because his running game was so good and their defense was so potent. He's a great game manager, but he wasn't on a team like Caleb Williams. I'm telling you, Caleb Williams is an absolute stud. Listen to this.
I don't think I'm not going to be number one. I think I put in all the hard work, all of the the time, effort, energy into being that. So I don't think of a plan B. That's kind of how I do.
That's what you want in an NFL quarterback. That is what you want in a draft. That is what you're looking for when it comes to looking at a player and his determination to win. And Caleb Williams wants to win. He's decided that he's not in it for the money, guys. I hope you realize this. I don't know if you've done any research on Caleb Williams. His dad might be a little questionable, might be a little money hungry, but Caleb Williams is not. Caleb Williams wants to win. And he wants to go into an organization, and he said it. I want everybody from the coaching staff, all the way down to the guy mopping the floor. I want everybody in that locker room, everybody in that building, the only focus is winning football games. He said that exactly. And that is the kind of guy you're looking for in a quarterback prospect, and probably a generational prospect at that. I don't know if there's any quarterback, everybody compares him to Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes 2.0. There's not going to be another Patrick Mahomes, right? Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He went into a system with Andy Reid. We don't have that luxury, right? The Bears have ruined every quarterback that has ever walked onto that field, except for maybe Sid Luckman and Jim McMahon. Outside of that, it's been absolutely abysmal. Jay Cutler was kind of average at best, right? Obviously, Justin Fields isn't working out. So the Bears don't have a great history of maturing quarterbacks and finding their guy, but they've also never drafted a quarterback at number one. The Bears have never drafted a prospect like Caleb Williams. I'm telling you right now, this kid is special. He is special, and the Bears find themselves in a unique position also being at number 9. So you've got the Bears at 1, Commanders at 2, the New England Patriots at 3, Arizona Cardinals at 4, the Chargers at 5, the Giants at 6, Tennessee Titans are 7, Atlanta Falcons are 8. So the Bears also have a chance to find a generational talent with a wide receiver like a Roma Dunze, who I think will still be there at 9. Joe Ott might be there at 9, offensive lineman from Notre Dame. You know, there's going to be, the Bears have a unique position at number 9 to snake a really, really good generational player. Now, not only do you have an opportunity to get Caleb Williams and run him on a rookie contract for the next 5 years, let's look at Justin Fields. Okay, again, Justin Fields is going into year 4 in his contract. The salary cap hit's going to be $9 million. If the Bears pick up his 5th-year option, that's $25 million. Cheap money, right, for the next 2 years. But let's just look at what the quarterbacks are bringing in this market value now. Now, keep in mind the NFL has raised the salary cap, so these numbers are going to skyrocket when it comes to new contracts. Patrick Mahomes, $450 million. Joe Burrow, $275 million. Justin Herbert, $262 million. Lamar Jackson, $260 million. Josh Allen, $258 million. Jalen Hurts, $255 million. Russell Wilson, $242 million. Kyler Murray, $230 million. Deshaun Watson, this is crazy, $230 million, and all of it is guaranteed money for the Cleveland Browns. Now, Matthew Stafford, $160 million. Daniel Jones, $160 million. Daniel Jones, the New York Giants. Justin Fields is arguably in that boat. He's probably somewhere between Deshaun Watson and Daniel Jones. So you're talking $230 million at worst case or at best case scenario for the Chicago Bears, $160 million on a 4-year deal. Now, would you pay Justin Fields that kind of money seeing what you've saw in the last 3 years? So that's what you got to ask yourself, and that's what Ryan Poles has to ask himself and the Bears front press. If we keep Justin Fields and we pass on a generational quarterback that we can get cheap for the next 5 years, are we going to pass and pay Justin Fields if we keep him anywhere between $160 million and $230 million on a 4 or 5 year contract, and probably a guaranteed minimum of $130 million? No. I'm sorry. I'm going to pass. Even if Justin Fields performed better than he did last year, I'm going to pass because he's not worth that kind of money when you have an opportunity to draft a guy like Caleb Williams. When you have a guy that you can draft like Caleb Williams, that's what you do at number 1. That's what Ryan Poles is going to do because he's not going to pass on this talent. He's not going to do it. He passed on a quarterback last year. I thought he had reservations doing that, and I can tell you right now, if Caleb Williams went and declared in the draft last year, the Bears would have dropped Fields then like a fly and drafted Caleb Williams. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Andy Mazo. Have a great night.